Hello again, everyone. I'm Kyle Benjamin with Frontstretch.com. He's Trey Lyle, and we are in our post-race conversation following the Phoenix Championship race. First of all, it was a season for the ages. A lot of action on and off track, both penalty-wise, winners, controversy, disqualifications, all sorts of things happened in 2025. And this year, Joey Logano, a three-time champ, walk-off win. Roger Penske's third consecutive, and dare I say, Penske Racing across the board is the best organization in motorsports on the planet at the moment.
Yeah, I don't think that's hard to say, Kyle. And this is a unique view. Leave your comments. So when I host Happy Hour, I call the comment section the Front Stretch Garage. So I will gladly bestow that honor to you for this program. So I just want to mention that here. But yeah, it's a very complexing finish and a very complexing kind of feeling out of this race, because it's kind of, we're at this, we could look at the big picture and be like, is this a turning point for this format? But you look at individually in the race, Joe Logano, Penske, Ryan Blaney, they do it again. Like, they're undefeated in the next gen. At this, Logano is now a three-time champ, which is what, the 10th person to do it. And
I can pull up the graphic momentarily.
I think it was 10th. I think Lee Diffie said in his beautiful Aussie accent, 10th.
Lee Petty, David Pearson, Cale Yarborough, Darrell Waltrip, Tony Stewart, and now Joey Logano. So
and then you throw in like Jeff at 4, and then what?
And the others, Johnson, Dale Earnhardt, and Richard Petty. So he has joined the list of 10 drivers who have more than 2 championships. Joey Logano is in elite air, I think. And for a driver who was essentially written off following speed weeks, first couple of the season, remember, Joey Logano was penalized heavily for his qualifying antics in the 500 with the web glove. So started off the season exactly on a back foot, and right, wrong, or indifferent, and how you feel about the format. And if you are watching us on YouTube or Twitter, please chime in on the comment section. We'd love to hear from you and what you think of the race. If you have a thought, leave it here, and we will certainly get to it. But, I saw a lot of comments on social media as the race was winding down, and in post-race, people kind of complaining about how they can drive. Logano's average finish was 17.2 on the season. I am in... I'm on the contrarian side. I think this is a great win. He's got 4 wins on the season, which puts him, I think, second behind Larson on the list. Larson's got 6. Logano's got 4. He won in Vegas to advance, and then he wins He wins the finale to win the championship. And in a format that places a premium on him, he did exactly what he needed to do to become a 3-time champ. Are there some issues perhaps with the format? Yes. But I think this race.
Yeah, so that's why I said I have a weird feeling coming from this race, because it's like, in one hand, Joey Logano played the format perfectly, and he's done that for his 3 titles. But like, bigger picture, it's like, how do you contextualize those 3 titles compared to Tony Stewart's 3 titles, or even, like Denny Hamlin has 50 wins but no title? Like, what is it's kind of hard with this format, because he was. I retweeted a stat, and it's from what is it? I'm pulling it up. This is the beauty of my internet. From Auto Racing Analytics, he was the 10th fastest, the 22nd best restarter, the 31st most efficient passer. Like, that doesn't scream championship, but I did find this as a sports reference, and Kyle, I hope you get this. Joey Logano is Eli Manning.
I was just about to go there.
I figured that out. Like, it took me about 10 minutes post-race, and I said, he is Eli Manning. He is mid in the regular season, and then just has these insanely clutch moments, and it kind of distorts, like, all right, I guess he's good. Like, and I don't want to take it away from Joey Logano. Like, he's a 3-time champion, but it's like, was he the best driver? Was he the best driver every in the years he won the title, I don't feel that way. And it's not his fault. It's the format's fault. And it's a weird feeling.
Statistically speaking, no, he wasn't the best driver that season. That nod goes to Kyle Larson, hands down. And I said Larson in the championship 4, we might be having a slightly different conversation right now. But as one of our commenters, Zura LTX, points out, Logano in the even years, which is, I think, a fascinating
Michael Massey's favorite thing.
Yeah, you have damage and statistics, and this is definitely a statistic. And it's just one of those beautiful quirks of sports. But to your Eli Manning analogy, and I say this as a lifelong diehard New York Giants fan, pedestrian. Eli is a first ballot Hall of Fame, no question about it.
You can tell what team I root for.
Yeah, somebody in Philadelphia. So Manning, an even 500 record across two Lombardi trophies. In the top 5 all time in passing yards. Logano has a very similar career. He's got 3 Super Bowl championships at this point, if we're going to take that analogy this far. He's up there on the all wins list. Is he going to be in the conversation someday with Jeff Gordon? Perhaps, if he goes back-to-back next year. Logano 34. He's got a couple good years left as long as this format sticks around and he stays with Ford. I think he's got a shot. Now, the other thing to consider here is, Ford as a whole is kind of average on the season, but they have now won 3 straight championships.
Yeah. Sorry, my internet cut out for a second. Ford, you could argue, it's weird. Again, this is the format again. Ford, you could argue, has been the worst next-gen car statistically, but has swept the 3 titles. And granted, they've all gone to Roger Penske and Penske, and that's like, I feel like that's if you gave, like, the Yankees had to wear, like, a different bat, like, you give, like, maybe the best organization in the history of motorsports, like, just a different, it's definitely something to but yeah, Ford does it again. I mean, Ford almost swept the series, swept the championships once again, because it was Justin Allgaier and Cole Custer really in the Xfinity series last night.
Yeah.
And so
Ford trailed Chevy in the manufacturer's title by 3 points. So about 1 race. But they were essentially written off after the first 2 or 3 weeks of the season. They're slow. They're not going to be there. And then all of a sudden, Michael McDowell starts performing. And, John Henry Nemechek had some show. Oh, I'm sorry. He's with Toyota now.
Todd Gilliland?
The front row driver. Todd Gilliland. Thank you. Todd Gilliland, John Henry Nemechek, second generation drivers, same age. They look the same. It happens.
Potato. One's tall,
so
but the problem is you picked the really tall guy versus a short guy. Like
that's fair.
Big.
That's fair. But then RFK goes on a bit of a run. Chris Buescher was a threat all season. Keselowski picks up a win. If you look at the season standings, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, Harrison Burton's a bit of an outlier. But there are 7.
He won at Daytona. He won at
Daytona. That win aside, he would not have been where he was. But you've got a bunch of Fords in the top 20. Couple Fords, couple Toyotas. Parity is there across the board, I think, this season. But as far as this race goes, we got exactly what we wanted, which was 2 guys duking it out for the championship. Team Penske is very good at Phoenix. I think that's probably very deliberate on their part, knowing where the championship race is going to be won. You build a car specifically to run that race and run well. And you saw Logano do the move that I think NASCAR and its partners had wanted to see from the get-go with moving this race to Phoenix, which is someone dive bombing down into the dog leg to take the lead. And that's exactly what Logano did with 55 laps to go. He went from 5th to 1st, and that was it.
Yeah, I mean, I've said Homestead is probably a better place to have the championship. But Joey, like, again, we go back to this. Joey Logano made the right moves. Like, he just made it came down to that final restart. Ryan Blaney, I think, gave it all he could. Just ran. Maybe never would have gotten past Logano because the way these cars are at Phoenix, it's so hard to pass. I think at the end of the day, Blaney had the best car. Logano got screwed with pit selection a little bit because of a pre-race inspection penalty, which I guess that means there's a chance he could fail post-race inspection. That would be hilarious. But ultimately, that one restart, Blaney gets boggled back. I think he went 5th after that restart, and Logano is able to pull it out. He gets in front of William Byron, who it felt like strategy was going to fall his way, and he got the caution sort of when he wanted. He was on the front row. Logano gets by him. But ultimately, you move, you give. I don't want to have the bigger picture conversation yet. Maybe we'll do that on Happy Hour, Kyle, because I think you need to give a lot of credit to Joey Logano, because if you take it in context of this race itself, he executed pretty much flawlessly. And he had a bad hand a little bit because of the pit selection. He'd lost his pit selection. He had essentially the worst pit box because of pre-race inspections. So you have to give him a lot of credit for that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he did. I get the Eli Manning analogy. Big players make big plays in big games, and Joey Logano certainly has the experience at this point in his career. He's 34, so he joined, with JGR when he was 18 years old. So he has 16 years at the Cup level. He knows how to win, and he did. You can look at his results throughout the season. Remember, he'd have 5 wins on the season if he didn't get cleaned out in Richmond.
That's true. I was there.
So and statistically speaking, for a fan base that puts a premium on winning and a series that puts a premium on winning, a guy with 5 wins is a worthy champion. 5 with an asterisk.
Yeah, that's fair. It's. I think we have lost, there is now this debate of, do you want someone who's consistent or someone who has really, really big highs and lows? Because Joey Logano feels like has really big highs or lows. Like, if you look at his racing reference stats, his average qualifying was actually 12th. His average, this was his worst average finish since his time at Penske at 17.1. He only led 414 laps. He had only 7 top 5s, 13 top 10s. He did get those 3 poles, but I think the first 2 were a little juiced, to say the least. But he executed. Now, did he have if I was him, I'd also buy a lotto ticket tonight with how his luck has fallen his way these last month and a half with the Bowman thing, with basically it not working out exactly right for Christopher Bell to pass him at Las Vegas, which, Bell might have had the best car today too at some point, it felt like. Then, that restart going exactly perfect for him in terms of Blaney gets boggled back and he scoots ahead, gets enough clean air where he can hold him off. It's a lot of luck, and that's most championships, and that's racing. But it's definitely a lot of he is very much, especially this season, a lot of highs or lows. And you mentioned those 4 wins. 2 have come in the last month or 4 weeks. So
you win. You win when you have to in the playoffs.
And 1 came at the start before he came into the playoffs. He won 3 of the last 10 races. Let's put it that way, because he won Atlanta, he won Las Vegas, and obviously he wins today. So,
and if he's now tied with Tony Stewart for championships at 3, and
what is he better than Tony Stewart?
Won,
it's ironic he's tied with Tony.
Yeah. Was it 11 when Stewart went on that epic run?
Yeah, but 2011, yes, I believe so. Let me
So
Google's it. Let me Google it. This is yes.
right. We can check the stats. We have all the things. But
we have the internet, and then we're gonna get the human computer and Steven Stumpf and Bryan Nolen in a second. So
we are. They are. Steven has said he is hopping on in a minute. Our team at the track is wrapping up their post race activities at Phoenix. Tan, who's joining us from YouTube, bummed Martin Truex Jr. didn't win. I agree. I'm not sure where Truex finished today. He finished 10 points in his last full season as a Cup driver. Again, one of an all-time great. He's a champion, won a bunch of races, was always very consistent. The series will be poor without him. But as far as, to revisit Penske's domination. So they're back-to-back Cup games. An organization that is always going to be there, but have been kind of quiet this season. They win the Rolex 24. They win the 500. They win the IMSA overall championship. And they won the World Endurance Hypercar Championship. They had a race win there. So in 1, 2, 3, 4 series, Penske has a championship. He won the biggest race in American sports car racing, the biggest race in open wheel racing. And they win. I'm sorry, they weren't the GCP. Were they the GCP champs this year? Who won the championship?
That's Spanish, right?
I'll say it was Penske.
I'm just kidding.
Anyway, Team Penske, very good. Always very good. Quietly very good. And, Penske, good at Phoenix. They won the last IndyCar race that was held there in 2018.
Look who's joined us. Can you hear us, gentlemen? Let them get their.
Well, they were here. They were there briefly.
I kicked him out of the stage for a second because he's adjusting. So.
Okay.
Hello.
Okay, we're gonna have to do without them.
Hey guys.
Welcome to Post Race Conversations. Steven Stumpf, Bryan Nolen, live from Phoenix. Well, boys, what do you think?
Well, I mean, the guy that was basically 17th best the entire year won the playoffs. So, I mean, take it for what it's worth. This is the playoff system, Kyle, whether we like it or not. And Joey Logano's a 3-time champion.
You guys had a chance to talk to all the drivers post-race. What did they have to say? What was the kind of recurring theme from everyone who was involved?
Just kind of, Blaney was in the media center afterwards. He said that, in the battle to track Logano down, he really just had nothing left. He got behind on that final restart, got stuck behind Larson for what seemed like 20 laps. Only then when he finally got around him with about 20 to go, he finally started making up a ton of ground, got by Byron easily, but, then he reached Logano and, and just couldn't make any moves by the time he got there. Logano went on to win, and I think, there's definitely a lot of sense of like, for the rest of the teams, how do we beat Penske? Because now they've won every single next gen championship at Phoenix, and they just seem to have this format completely unlocked.
Bryan, anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, it feels like all you got to do is advance to Phoenix, and once you get to Phoenix, you got a chance. And you know what? Penske's found the answer. 3 in a row, 2 times with Joey Logano, 1 with Ryan Blaney. All you got to do is be fast when it counts, and they did.
Well, that certainly is the emphasis that I think NASCAR wanted to move the playoff format away from the chase that we'd all come to kind of know and semi-love. You put an emphasis on winning in this format, and Logano won out of 10 to win the title.
Yeah, I mean, he had 2 full weeks of just preparing for this race, and I think it was minus last year, the winner from the previous 2 years, I think 2020 and 2021, the winner at Las Vegas won the championship. And once again, that is what happened, because you have 2 full weeks, Stephen. You have 14 days that you can prepare for, and guess what? He did it.
Yep. And if you look at Logano's 3 championships, in all 3 of them, he won the round of 8 opener and had the 2 weeks to prepare.
There you go.
I can't say the exact number at the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure, half of the champions, or at least, I think 5 of them of the 11 have gone on to win the title after winning the round of 8 opener. And, we talk about winning, I mean, you can criticize the playoff format you want, and I think there's certainly tons of criticism that there can be. But under this format with the rules, Logano showed up when it counted. It's kind of crazy just how we got even to this point. It was Austin Cindric's spin at the end of Nashville that led to the 5 overtimes. Logano saving an incredible amount of gas to win and block in, which he otherwise wouldn't have done. Then being out after the round of 12, being back in with Alex Bowman's DQ, winning the Las Vegas race with a fuel mileage gamble over Christopher Bell, and now here, at the end of the day, he just ended up being one of the best cars. So, I think it just comes down to what people want in a champion, and what a championship should be. But under the system that everyone was provided, obviously Logano, took care of business.
There certainly seems to be, especially leading into this race, a discussion about rewarding overall consistency on the year, and statistically, that appears to be Kyle Larson. 6 wins, 50 top 5, 18 top 10s, 5 DNFs, but he led 1,700 laps and picked up 12 stage wins. So those two, in almost every statistical category, he was far and away the best driver. And then because of the format, doesn't get a chance to participate in the title match. But if you model it after stick and ball sports, which NASCAR leadership has said they're trying to do time, sometimes that happens.
Yeah, I mean, we can go back and forth on this format, but I mean, what happened last year in MLB? Arizona Diamondbacks, they were like 80 and 72 or something. They got to go to the World Series. So I mean, anything can happen as long as you make it. The New York Giants, they made it in 2007, beating New England, and what happened? They made it and they went to the Super Bowl and they beat New England. All you got to do is make it, and for Joey Logano, especially in even years, all you got to do is make it, and they did.
And also, but since you mentioned about Larson being out, it's kind of wild because the 3 drivers that led the most laps, the 3 drivers with the best average finish, they were all out. Kyle Larson had 6 wins. Christopher Bell led over 1,000 laps. He had 3 wins, just barely missed out, at Martinsville with the controversial finish there. And you think about the 4 that you were eliminated, you can't help but wonder, how good of a storyline kind of the championship race that would have been, because you would have had Kyle Larson with 6 wins, hoping to cap his 2nd title and finish off a dominant season. You had Christopher Bell having one of his basically a breakout season, a career year, looking to win his 1st. You had Chase Elliott, who's kind of gone, quiet the last couple of years ever since the snowboarding accident. He's trying to win his 2nd and come back. And then you have Denny Hamlin, the driver that everyone loves to hate, trying to win a title in race number 9 in season number 19. And and all of them were all really good, for the season. But again, that's just the way the format goes. This was actually, I think, the first time in the elimination format that the top 3 in full season points did not make the championship floor. So that's just it was just a pretty chaotic round of 8, and that's just the way all the cards fell.
Before you all joined us, Trey and I were talking about how Joey Logano was kind of the Eli Manning of NASCAR.
He kind of is.
Shows up when needed, but overall very pedestrian.
Great comparison.
That was me who came up with that.
Yeah,
okay.
Trey beat me to it. I had it queued up, and Trey was the first one to bring it to the
go
table.
back and look.
Aren't you supposed to be a producer, Trey? Why do we see you right now?
Because I also helped I had a vamp while you two guys were,
every good post-race show brings in the producer from time to time to add depth and color. And we appreciate
Bryan
all you've done to get us on the air.
I don't want to give Trey credit though.
Bryan knows the only reason why he sounds good every week is because of me, so he should be quiet.
Oh, stop! I complimented you every time on the podcast this weekend, so thank you.
Not privately.
Anyway,
thanks for stopping by.
What I was also going to say is, something that stuck out to me last weekend at Martinsville at the end of the race. I believe it was Jeff Burton that said, "I don't care how they're doing in the regular season; they all show up. They're all showing up. Penske in the playoffs." So, and I guess when thinking about championship format, it's kind of what do you want, because Penske may not be as good in the regular season, but they've used that and just perfected the formula to win in the postseason. So it's also that balance. NASCAR needs to kind of figure out that balance between having the regular season also mean a lot, but also having the postseason be exciting as well. And I think that's definitely, some questions they have. And, as we heard this weekend, they said the playoffs are here to stay, but they said they'd also be open to any tweaks or changes to the format as well.
Yeah, a big thing that I noticed is they're really going to concentrate on attendance for Homestead in March if they want to return for a potential championship race in 2026. So, I mean, if you want Homestead to have a championship in 2026, you're going to have fans get out in droves in South Beach and Miami. So, will that happen? I don't know. We're going to have to wait and find out. But, I mean, this place was packed, Steven. This place, the grid was packed. The crowd was packed. I mean, the last 30 laps, it was incredible. I mean, say what you want about Phoenix just overall. Yesterday night may have been one of the best season finale races I've ever seen live. And the last 30 laps have been of today's race were incredible. I mean, there was some fantastic racing, and I don't think Phoenix gets the credit that they truly do deserve.
I would agree with that, and obviously, Homestead with the incredible finish, the incredible race from start to finish, that's fresh on everyone's mind. But, there's still some good that we saw here this weekend. And, I do agree with Bryan. It's like, this for hosting the finale here, it's very picturesque. You're nestled right in the mountains. They've improved the facilities, the infield a ton. It's basically a one giant party. Attendance is packed. It does feel like a championship event. But that's it. But that said, Homestead has been the title race in the past. NASCAR also said that they've considered other places like Las Vegas as potential title places for the future. So, it'll be interesting.
Charlotte, Darlington, Las Vegas.
Yes. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there and, where the finale will be in 2026.
A rotating slate schedules for the title wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. This car does phenomenal on mile and a half tracks. So it could be very good. And, attendance being a question mark, the Cardinals were playing just up the road in Scottsdale. So to hear that the Speedway is packed is certainly a great sign for the health of the racing community there in Phoenix.
Who were they playing, Kyle?
We're not going to talk about this. I do not want to talk about this.
I don't know who they were playing, but I checked as I was watching. I was like, okay, are the Cardinals at home? They are. Scottsdale, and that stadium very close to the track.
They're playing the Jets. And let's just say it was not pretty for the Jets.
Yeah.
Well, there's MetLife Stadium, I think, is cursed. The Giants were awful. The Jets are terrible. Bulldozer.
The Giants did lose to the Panthers today. Well, hey, our boss commented, by the way, so we should. I want to highlight that.
Yeah, Tom Bowles, the ringmaster to the circus that is sometimes Frontstretch.com, chiming in, pointing out again that Penske, they're the only team to win in the next gen era, and they figured out how to win at Phoenix, which is exactly what they had to do. That's the knock that Jimmy Johnson and Chad Knaus got all those years. Is they know how to win in the chase.
Yeah, like we had said, Kyle, all you got to do is here at the right place at the right time. And for Joey Logano, Team Penske, they've got the perfect setup. They had, like we said, 14 days to prepare for this. Guess what? They got the job done.
And also, I want to say that I would personally be in favor of rotating the race, the final race, because, to decide a championship, it just, there's so many drivers that are great at Phoenix, and there's so many drivers that also aren't great at Phoenix. And, you could have a great season, but if a driver just historically isn't good at Phoenix, then they're kind of behind the eight ball already. So, but again, Penske's clearly figured something out. Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano, they've all figured something out here. So, again, credit to them. They showed up when it counted the most.
Are there any other, and I know it's the last race of the season, so some of it doesn't matter, but it's the last race for some guys at their current organization. The last race for some organizations is Stuart Haas rides off into the sunset. Martin Truex going to a very reduced schedule. What other storylines are there from this race weekend?
I mean, there's a plethora of Stuart Haas racing was obviously a big one. I think this is the first time, I don't remember in how long, that Tony Stewart and Gene Haas both were here at the same time for multiple days. They were here in the garage area. Obviously, they declined to comment to Frontstretch after the race. They were celebrating, so we let them celebrate. But I did talk to Rodney Childers, how it was emotional. Chase Briscoe told Frontstretch that he was crying in his car before the green flag even started, just because of the emotions of this day. I mean, it was there's been so many memories stories. There's been a championship that was run, a couple of championships that have been won. And I mean, to top it all off, Tony and Gene were here, and Riley Herbst won the Xfinity race to end the Xfinity Series on a good note. So, I mean, there's been a plethora of storylines. Steven, also Martin Truex Jr.'s final year. You talked to them after.
Yes. Truex ended up winning the last 2 poles of the season. Fortunately, the race results didn't show for it. He was great early. I believe he finished second at stage 1, but from there the car just got progressively worse and worse. He ended up finishing 17th. You know, obviously you wish they could have had a little bit better of a final day, especially driving that throwback to his first ever Cup start in 2004, the DEI car. But also, you know, and he also said this too back when in his pressers, but he just feels very, very thankful for all that he's been able to accomplish, all that he's been able to do in this sport, you know. And it doesn't seem like it's really kind of set in for him yet, but at the same time, you know, this isn't goodbye either. We already know he's going to be back for the Daytona 500 next year, with reuniting with former crew chief Cole Pearn, who he won the 2017 title with, likely with 2311. You know, so we'll be excited to see them there. And another kind of a farewell that we we learned actually this morning is that Denny Hamlin's longtime sponsor FedEx, who's been with them since 2005, basically confirmed that this was their last ever race with him on the car. We kind of saw it coming. 2022, FedEx sponsored 30 races. It dropped, I think, around 14 last year. It's about the same this year. So, you know, it's kind of an end of an era, just because of how, you know, when you think about all the biggest brands and sponsors and the most memorable combinations, that's just one of the longest pairings that, you know, we're just not going to, you know, no longer see on the track.
Yeah, it was actually 12 races. Our board, Danny Peters, let me know that they got a fund sponsorship for 12 races. So FedEx was on it for 12. A big, vast decrease from where they were at. I mean, I remember the days in like 06, 07 where 1 week it was like FedEx Freight and then FedEx Ground, and you had like the purple or the green and then like the orange. I mean, and now they're not even in. Just another major brand name. They're just another major brand name that's leaving the sport.
And we could dedicate hours to talking about the cost of sponsorship and the value that these, teams are bringing to the table for those sponsors, which is part of the crux of the whole Front Row 2311 lawsuit. But yeah, that the black 11 with that FedEx livery that would change from week to week is certainly an iconic one. It goes, it'll go down in history as an easily identifiable car driver combo. And for a number of FedEx, Martin Truex, this will be the first, 2020 will be the first year since 1996 that Tony Stewart will not be involved in NASCAR.
Yeah, it's an end of an era. I mean, he's becoming a dad. He's focused on his NHRA stuff, and I think he's just kind of tired of the grind, and happy that he's going out the way he wants to go out. I know he was celebrating with some, I won't say which kind of beer, but he was celebrating with the beer after the race. In my opinion, not the best kind of beer, but hey, whatever works for him. He's off to bigger and brighter pastures, in his opinion, I think.
Yeah, and in the State of the Sport address on Friday morning with Steve O'Donnell and Steve Phelps, one of the things they took a moment to mention that, also to, dedicating to Truex, but they also said that Tony is such a part of NASCAR and that he is welcome anytime. They will welcome him back with open arms anytime he feels, like he wants to be here. But again, just, I'm thinking about, the end of the season and just how much is going to change next year. We got a completely revamped schedule. We're going international for the first time since the 50s. We won't have Truex. We're going to have Chase Briscoe in the 19 car next year. No FedEx, as we said. SHR is completely gone. Haas factory team in its place. Trackhouse SVG.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of changes. It's going to be fun, but this is, Kyle, this is what silly season is. There's faces departing, new faces incoming, sponsors departing. I mean, it's what happens.
And not a lot of dominoes left to fall as far as silly season goes. I don't.
Yeah, I mean, maybe like one here, one there. Honestly, it kind of just depends on the lawsuit with 2311. If they're going to get a third charter, if Front Row is going to get a third charter. If that doesn't happen, then you got some people scrambling to find jobs. And people like I've heard Riley Herbst, Chandler Smith, Zane Smith, all been in the rumor mill on stuff. There's been rumors about Ryan Preece and maybe an RFK car, so we'll have to see if that actually comes to fruition. It's a lot of rumors and stuff going around, but I mean, it's basically all done.
And one more thing I do want to add as well is one of the iconic sponsorship pairings that we likely won't see next year is Kroger and the 47 car and all of their brands. Think about how long JTG they've been together. And so that's another, that's likely another, familiar pairing that we won't see next year as well.
One of our viewers, Eric on YouTube, says, what about Cole Custer? Is he moving to Cup?
He is. He'll be driving the number 41 car for the Haas factory team. He will only be going to one team next year in the Cup Series. They're going to be going two teams in Xfinity, Sam Mayer and Sheldon Creed. So Custer did not get the job done in Xfinity yesterday, but he will be moving up to Cup for a second stint in the NASCAR Premier level.
And as we wrap things up here, let's talk about that Xfinity race. Riley Herbst had the field covered. Oh boy, where does Justin Allgaier's drive rank overall? Because to me, that's one for the ages. Back-to-back penalties, and he comes back to win the championship.
I mean, I can't think of a better one off the top of my head, Kyle. I mean, can you?
I really can't, just with how many things went wrong the entire weekend, from the practice wreck in the oil to starting in the back to almost having that that disaster with the left rear tire leaking at the end of stage 2. And when he had the restart violation, the speeding penalty, I mean, I thought basically his hopes were done. I started, I got on WordPress and I started kind of just putting a draft together about how, it felt like another title was going to slip away from him. And then when that caution came out with with 44 to go with Anthony Alfredo, it just completely changed the ball game, And it's not like Allgaier got gifted the lead or anything too. He had to pit. He had to work his way basically towards the front of the field. It was an incredible battle with Cole Custer, and AJ Allmendinger and Connor Zilic, Sam Mayer, and a bunch of other Chevrolets in the mix as well. And I guess with how many overtimes we've had this year, I guess we had to have at least one of the championship races decided by one. And Allgaier took care of business there. Long time coming for him to win the title. The 7th championship for driver number 7 proved to be the winning one.
Certainly an excellent drive. You'll love to see it for a guy like Justin, who by all accounts is well beloved in the paddock and in the garage area of the series. He's a fan favorite, and he's had a lot of support certainly from Junior Motorsports throughout the years. All right, final thoughts on the season. It's been a very long 38 weeks, although it feels like February was yesterday with the Daytona 500. So how do you put a pin in this one? How do you put a bow on it, wrap it up as we head into the what amounts to an off season in NASCAR?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's kind of a shame that we have to end on with what happened at Martinsville, and then everybody's saying about like this is like a Mickey Mouse championship with the guy that's like 17th in overall averages. So it's a shame that it ends like this, but I mean, 3 of the top 8 finishes in NASCAR history happened this year. We had, I think, 10 different manufacturers win or something like that, like 18 winners. I don't know. Statman over here probably knows everything. I'm just talking at him, what, but that's okay. But I mean,
manufacturers.
Obviously, but I mean, it feels like it was a good season. Unfortunately, it a little bit unfortunately more bad than good.
I think, I feel like more than other seasons, I feel like this was one where we had some definite valleys. We had the peaks, the highs of the season were absolutely incredible.
Started the second race of the season.
Yep. The photo finishes, Atlanta, Kansas, the second Talladega, you name it, other incredible finishes like Homestead. Obviously, there were some disappointments like the Coke 600 ending under rain, or I guess humidity. Then late that night, Bristol, the Bristol night race being kind of a, I guess a letdown. Still some struggles with the road courses, short tracks. Even though Martinsville, we saw a tire that actually ended up making the race really compelling, and it's unfortunate that all the controversy at the end overshadowed that. But we also had that incredible Bristol race in the spring where it was just an endurance battle with everyone. So I think overall there's a lot of ups and downs, but we made it. We made it to the end of the season. I'd say overall it was a good one, and now we're counting down the days until the Clash of Bowman Gray.
No, we are not counting down the days yet. I am in off-season mode. I need to be in off-season mode.
You still got a podcast to do, boy. You got actually two.
Brian's wearing his swim trunks. You just can't see it. He's got his flip-flops and his swim trunks on. He is taillights and tire smoke back to the hotel after this.
Amen to that. Amen.
He's got two
Well,
podcasts.
it's certainly been an enjoyable and entertaining NASCAR season. We all got to know, oh golly, his name has escaped me. The official was always on after something went sideways.
Elton Sawyer.
Elton Sawyer, thank you. I was just name. Just missed. We got to know Elton Sawyer way more than I think anybody ever wanted to get to know Elton Sawyer. A lot of interesting things happened off the track. Great things happened on the track. A champion who did what he had to do to win is crowned at Phoenix. We had a great Xfinity race. Truck Series was the Truck Series, and we head off into the offseason.
Yeah, congrats to Tom Majeski.
Oh, and the pace car hit the sand barrels.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. How could we forget that today? The actual pace car driver, not Michael Phelps, who was the celebrity pace car driver, the honorary starter, tried to make too hard of a left turn and crashed into the sand barrels. I mean, this season's had it all, and I guess we had to have, one more oddity, happen and red flag the race.
I was at the Detroit Grand Prix in 2018 when the president of Chevrolet binned the Corvette before the start of that one. So, it happens from time to time, and it's always kind of funny when it does.
Gotcha. Yeah, just such a weird deal.
It was. A little fitting to kind of cap the season off with just a quirk.
On the cake for everything that has happened in the past 7 to 10 days.
Yeah, for sure. A lot has happened since the checkers at Martinsville, and that is just one of the things.
Exactly. But I mean, for all the latest, you can find my videos. I talked with Jimmy Johnson, who confirmed to Frontstretch that he will be running a handful of races next year. He will have Carvana on the car for a couple of them. He doesn't know the exact number, but he did confirm to a Frontstretch that he is not retiring as the rumor mill is going around. So he's not hanging it up just yet. He did confirm to Frontstretch he'll be running a couple of races in 2025. But I mean, Stephen, you got a bunch of articles already out, and then what are you going to be writing about for Frontstretch later tonight?
I'm going to be writing. Yeah, I already know. I'm going to be writing about Ryan Blaney's late charge trying to get to Logano that ultimately just came up short. But stay tuned in the off season because we're always going to have a bunch of incredible content being pumped out. And I know Bryan doesn't want to think about when everything starts up again. But as of today, there are 97 days till the Daytona 500.
I hate this. I absolutely despise this right now. No, don't like it.
Well, that's all right. Well, a lot can happen in 97 days, and I'm sure there will be plenty of news to break between now and the checkers or the green flag flying on the 2025 season. Trey, do you have anything else for us?
Just make sure if you enjoy live YouTube content, 7:30 on Tuesday, you can tune into Happy Hour where I'll be hosting, and we'll offer some hot takes to this race.
We love hot takes here. We love hot takes. We love hot food. We love hot racing.
Amen. I love all food.
I don't have anything else. You guys?
We're all good. Appreciate everything. Supports. Appreciate all the support and then help behind the scenes. Thank you to you for hosting, Trey. Shout out to you for producing all the great podcasts this past weekend, and thank you to Stephen that's dying to say something.
Yeah, I just want to say also, before we sign off, I just want to say thank you to all of our fans that follow Frontstretch, who read our articles, who view our videos, who are on the stream right now. We can't do anything that we're doing right now without you guys. So we just want to say thank you so much for your support as always.
We would not exist without viewers like you, readers like you, for sure. So for everybody at frontstretch.com, our team at the track who's been there all season long, Trey in Blacksburg, I'm Kyle Benjamin saying so long. We'll see you down the road. Have a good one.